So, okay, error. Should create a make file.
And okay, it could make shows me this one, and it isn't.
Well, I suggest you. Did you install the Qt SDK already? It should have the make file. So, okay.
If you haven't much time, I can leave.
Sorry?
If you haven't got much time,
No, I got all the time in the world. I think. No, but strange. If you have it, it should be on your. You should be able to find it and put it on your path. But where is it? It's not this XML file. It's maybe you can do a find. Like you make. So if you just put the bin directory in the path, it should be. Oh, okay, guess you were doing that. So, are you getting there?
Yes, I'm installing it inside the virtual environment.
Did you get PyQt working in the virtual lab?
I should have already installed the system level, so it should be available.
Oh, it's a system. Oh, yeah, okay. Sure. So, are you getting there?
Okay, and there. I just have to run the. Okay, the second one, the 64-bit version.
Yeah, make sure that if you build PyQt and zip, you give the --arc. One moment. No, they are on USB. Do you have to install everything? Do you have to install everything? Qt. Is it Linux? Wait. No, I coded them. The one with one strap.
Stupid me that I didn't realize this code.
No, this one without is Linux. This one is Windows, and two straps is Mac. Did you find it?
Non hai ancora installato niente, però deve avere anche file.
Oh, should be there. Still complaining? Ah, you can pass it, okay. Antonio. Oh. Seems like, yeah, maybe try the verbose flag too. Minus minus verbose, maybe we can learn something from it.
No such far direction.
Is it in an unusual place, or maybe you can put the whole, yeah? Yeah.
And to stop PyQt, you have to recompile it.
Yeah. Do you have, for you? You have Xcode?
Yes.
GCC?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have Python 2.7?
Yes.
Okay.
I had a bit problem with Camelot.
So virtual env is a bit tricky because you have to build PyQt and you have to build zip. So you have to build them. Sorry?
Then you can just
Without what? No. Unless you have a compiler, C compiler. GCC. Because you have to build PyQt and you have everything. Just copy everything. You already have the Camelot, but I guess.
It's better not to use.
No, you can use, but the problem is zip and PyQt. You have to build them. So you have to build them on your system, and then you can. I read that then you can copy from the side packages to your virtual env. Zip and PyQt. I haven't tried it. Thank you. Sorry?
It's too old. The packages are broken on this distribution, so there's no hope
Oh.
of installing it.
Oh.
This is one of my old notebooks.
Hmm.
So it's Debian based. I'm asking for help. But my question is this any use if I can't, is this talk or the training any good without?
Well,
I'll go for the JavaScript one now.
yeah, I understand.
This is my one because I really want to do this. This is my problem with this.
Yeah, I'm going to give some theory, and then there's about 6 exercises.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the people time to make those exercises, so then you can't.
I would really like to have done this, but I should have brought my proper laptop, my new laptop.
Yeah,
It's
It's-
got too fine.
too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad. You could stay for the theory parts, but
Maybe I'll get some notes from the online.
yeah, sure.
Thank you very much.
If you're interested, there's also last year we spoke here. We did a talk, so maybe that's more beneficial for you.
Okay, well, look up.
It's recorded, so
Okay. Oh, I see.
it's in the archive of the EuroPython website.
Thank you very much for that.
Okay. Do you need some separate files, or how's the connection? Zip, yes. Yeah. So if you can build those, that's okay. So it's, I don't know if you can read the commands. Oh. So Python configure, and then -D for the side packages.
Maybe you put the microphone. The whispering is worrying the
Ah, okay.
mute the microphone.
Sure.
Here.
Testing. Test, test, test. Test 1, 2. Okay, so everybody is installing, I think. Everybody is getting there. I see you are.
I'm around, so just call me if you need help or
Yeah, so I'll just introduce myself. I am Dierckx. I am one of the developers of Camelot framework. I'll just leave that here. And my friend Antonio Cuni is helping out because he is a long-time supporter of the Camelot framework. So he knows something about it. And yeah. So can we start, or do we have to wait until everybody is installed? You're getting there, still having problems?
The guys on the streaming guys can ask if you go talk louder.
Louder.
Like this.
Like this.
Yes.
Okay.
Can anyone share Wi-Fi connection?
can anyone set up a quick hotspot, Wi-Fi spot? It doesn't matter. I mean, you can probably start and we
I will.
The network is addressed.
Okay, so c'è una versione
Everybody has everything installed now?
You guys are okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yes.
I'll try the.
Your key.
I copied that. schedule. I'm panicking. I'm there. Oh, it's just too much. Well, don't worry. If you want to steal some time for a coffee break, you can. If they agree, of course. No one can force them to stay here.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a bit about Camelot. You probably already know that it's a framework for building desktop applications. It's heavily inspired on the Django admin. So it's built for speed of development, going to an application really fast and not really worrying about the GUI stuff too much. So you can make basic applications by just declaring a model, which we will see later. And yeah, the main sponsor, the main developer, Dierckx, couldn't be here, but this is his website, conceptive.be. This is my website, shore.be, and this is Antonio's website. You can find info and support, trainings, etc. if you want more information or more commercial support or something. Okay, let's start. So Camelot is shipped with a small convenience tool to start a project. We will just go ahead and start this tool before I go further.
Make it a bit bigger because
The text? Can we make the projector? Yeah, okay, never mind. Is that okay? Sorry. So we'll just start by using the Camelot admin tool to start a new project. And then we can quickly test it, see if everybody's up and running. And then we will go further with the theory we need for the next exercise. So this is already the first exercise. It's start a new project called Movies. We're going to try to recreate the Camelot example, which is shipped with the code as well, in a minimalistic way. So start a new project by running this command, Python -m for module Camelot bin Camelot admin. And this should pop up a small cute window which asks for a couple of things about your application, such as your application name, sorry, the name of your module, the location of your source files where you want to store the project, etc. What this does is it creates all the boilerplate code you need in that directory. That's all it does. So you could start writing up all this code, or you could use the small tool. So if you've done that, you have a basic application, which you can already start by running Python main. So I suggest everybody tries this, and I'll see if how you're doing.
Just a question. The domain, how does it affect our naming convention or something? Whatever we choose here, what is it like for? After?
It's basically only used to store settings, for instance, config files. So it
will create a folder with this name? Or
exactly. It will create a dot folder in your home folder.
with this
Yeah.
name?
In
So it's an
Windows.
internal representation. It's not like for the name.
No.
It's just for me. It's not like like in Android that you use like naming conventions by domain dot
the
module
Java style. No,
something
no,
like
no.
this.
It's not like that. Now I am thinking if it comes up anywhere else. No, it's only to store config files.
and the module, the name, didn't create a file with that name.
Yeah, so create the boilerplate code with the module with that name.
So usually you will call it like your main like movies.
Yeah, movies. Something like that. Or something lowercase movies. Something like that. Yeah. On Windows, this is where the registry, in the registry, the settings are saved. On Linux, it's the resent file. On Mac, it's plist settings.
Come root. No, no, no.
Try to install the Python as a should be it's a commercial Python package. It contains everything. No, it's I said that if you go to the concept website, you can find this Python distribution, which already includes Camelot and stuff, but it's not. You can use it for other stuff.
We just have to toss a coin and
You can see on the website concept.de where what packages are included.
the only thing is that it's not that Sam is fine. No, but Sam is not on his own bed. Sam is on his own floor. No, he's in the fifth floor and we are in the first floor where his girlfriend is. So they have like beds and
It's all the way.
I suggest that if people don't manage to install, they could pair with someone else and do pair programming. And
Yeah.
sorry, but
That's
if you should really try to get a bigger phone because it's impossible to use.
because the person there is also
Yes. No, but I think but still use apt get installed. Yes, yes.
So, is everybody seeing is everybody able to run the main file? Are there any questions at this point?
Adesso mi dici.
So about font size on the projector, this is about the best I can do. If you can't read it, I suggest you move to front desk, to a desk closer to the screen. Already doing. It didn't? Still QMake problem or?
Yeah. Because I don't know
Where QMake is?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can do a find. Okay. Great. How are you doing? Oh, you're running that? Okay, perfect. Great, great. If you want to make an install, you're the only one who can.
Alla finale poi una risposta mi intendeva nel senso. Sull'app ancora non si
So this is your module, this is the boilerplate code for your application.
Thanks.
You can try running the main file. Sure. Oh, you guys are okay? You're okay, you're okay. Okay, I see that most of you guys are already there. You've got the boilerplate application running. That's great. So I'll start by explaining a bit about the layout of the code, about the layout of Camelot, so you can build your own stuff. We already did this. So, first of all, the application admin. It's in the root folder of your of the boilerplate code that was generated for you. So in application_admin.py, this defines how your application is set up. You can see here it has it overrides one method called getSections, and this method we use this method to define the sections in your left menu. So once we have created some models, we can link them here. You see now there is one section. I think maybe you have two sections. My classes, which is empty, I think, and one relation which has, or configuration I think you have, with the translation table and, what is it? Sorry? Yeah, memento. That's something built in to keep track of what users did in the application. So it's kind of memory of commands. So it doesn't really look like this, your admin, but you get the idea. It's a list. It returns a list of sections, and in that section you have a list of items. These items are the models themselves. So next step, okay. So in application admin, you can also implement these things: organization name, organization domain, and name. But normally they are gathered from the setup tool that you ran earlier. Okay, so everybody has, or most of you, could run the application. That's great. So we can start by building stuff. So, we used to use Elixir to define our models, but in the latest release we switched to declarative. Who doesn't know SQL Alchemy? Who hasn't worked with SQL Alchemy before? Okay, so SQL Alchemy is an object relational mapper and more, with a lot of extensibility possibilities. It also is shipped with the declarative language, which is a way to declare to define your models. This is all declarative. So it's SQL Alchemy. It's not something Camelot specific or something. It's the way you define your model. This will then be translated to a table in your database. If you don't specify a database in Camelot, it uses SQLite. So we'll see later where this SQLite database is. So what you do to make up your model is you extend the class from entity, which comes with in Camelot Core ORM. This does some boring stuff for you, so you can concentrate on what your model looks like. This is optional. You can specify how your table is named. Otherwise, it will take the name of the class in lowercase. Then we define the fields of the model, which will ultimately be mapped to fields in the database. The translation model has 3 fields, as you can see: language, source, and value. These are of type column, which is SQL Alchemy. So it's nothing special, nothing magical. It's pure SQL Alchemy in the declarative way. So you define the columns, and then you tell what type it ultimately is. Unicode is not imported, but it's also SQL Alchemy. You tell it to index it, and to make it the required field, you say nullable is false. So for people who used to use Elixir, this was editable is false. Now it's nullable is false. Nullable is false, yeah. Okay. The first one is a special type. Camelot comes with certain special types, such as language. You also have an image. You have rating, which is something like stars. We will see how that gets translated to the GUI later. So that's it to how to define your model in the declarative way. You could also use properties, pure Python properties or column properties, which come from the ORM as well. This should be an @ of course, so #64. The presentation stuff mangled it up. So this is @ column property. It's just a decorator, okay? So this way you can define fields which are not stored in the database, which are calculated. In this case, the name is calculated from source and value, which are values in the database. What this doesn't say, what you should probably do, is define a Unicode method as well here. So that's def under Unicode under self, and then return something that makes sense. In this case, it could probably be the same as this name column property. Okay, are there any questions about models so far? Cool. Moving on. To manipulate how the model is displayed in your application, you you create an admin class, which is an entity admin. Also comes with Camelot. This admin class, well, traditionally we write it as an inner class to the model to make clear that these are coupled. Of course, if you want to separate the model code and the view code, which the admin class actually is, you can also register it in your application admin. Where you do this is application admin.register. That's the model code, and that's the entity admin. So that's, if you were at Antonio's talk on white magic, you might see that this is an easier way than Antonio did it. But it was probably not around when Antonio found his solution. Anyway, so if I go back, this translation entity model class, and inside it, that's the easiest way. You write an admin, you call it admin. If you don't call it admin, you have to register it. And what does it need to contain? It needs only a list display is really necessary, but what's here is probably what you want. So verbose name is the verbose name is what the window will be called, and what the entry in the navigation will be displayed like. If you don't specify this plural, it will just put an S on the back. So for most words like translation, it's okay, translations. For some other English words, multiplying is a bit different, such as entity. Multiple is not entity S, but entity IES. So then you need to specify this verbose name plural. Then we have two lists which specify what fields are displayed in the table view. That's list display, which here is source, language, value, and UID. That's the fields that will be displayed. You can also explicitly say which fields need to come on the form, which is form underscore display, and it also is just a list of the fields you want. And we can also specify filters, which show up in the right side of your screen. We will show that later, where you can filter according to a specific field. This filters, of course, the list in the table view you have in front of you. Okay, so that's about it, I think. It's just the way it is conceived in Camelot is we have two threads. Camelot always runs in two threads, the GUI thread and the model thread. You can imagine what it does. The model thread takes care of all the data stuff, the communication with the database, etc. Data structures that you build yourself with Python, etc. The GUI thread takes care of the view stuff, showing the widgets, all the cute stuff, showing everything on the screen. And they are coupled through these admins. We already saw how to make an entity admin. You could also use an object admin if you are not using SQL Alchemy, but your own structures, so you don't need to use a database. And this is built with extensibility in mind. So the way Camelot is conceived is that you can change this layer and work with any data you want. Okay. So this is probably okay. Okay, some more on settings. I'll tell that later. Okay, so again, some words on declarative. We saw how you can make fields. You can also specify relationships between tables if you want with declarative, and this is done with the SQL Alchemy ORM relationship. And there you just specify what the related field, what the related entity is. So in this case, a person can have several addresses. So we say addresses is a relation to party address. Not like in party, but it's the way we conceive the inheritance. You have a party address, etc. This probably should have been, for clarity, just address. Okay, so we have a relationship to address. Address is another entity with some fields, which has the relationship back to person. And we also have a person ID, because it's a many-to-one relationship. One person can have one address, has one, no, it can have, one address can have one person. Wait. One person can have several addresses. That's it. So I think the other stuff is covered. These are just column fields of type integer. The ID is an integer, of course. You can specify the foreign key here, which is how you can go back to the address from a person. Yeah. Was that clear? Are there any questions about that?
I didn't get the party address, how it's related to address. I didn't know where it went.
No, this is wrong. This should be address.
Ah, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not going to fix it right now. So that's person is related to address, which is this one. Yeah. So that's clear, I think. Like I said, Camelot comes with some types already. SQL Alchemy has most of the basic types like integer, Boolean, Unicode. And we added some types which we use quite often, such as color type, which will display in the GUI as a color picker. We have an enumeration if you have some kind of state stuff or something. We have a file type, image type, rich text, and this generates Qt widgets. So for instance, rich text generates a text editor with the convenience buttons the user has become accustomed to. We'll see that working in a minute. And that's now. So, with the knowledge of relationship, with creating a model, creating an admin, creating relationships, and linking it in the navigation through the application admin, you should be able to do this exercise. So create a small model movie, create a small model actor, relate those two, make sure you have an admin for both, and then link it in the application admin. So feel free to ask questions if you get stuck or don't know where to start or something, because to save some time, I went a bit quick with the theory, so I can imagine it's not evident per se.
Here the diagram, like actor and movies, you know. What the people are going to do?
Screenshots or something. Oh. Okay. So what you should end up with is something like this. This is, of course, way too big. Just put a couple of fields on here, like name, release date, and actor. An actor should be something like the director field here, which is another entity which you relate it to. Is that a clear? Is that clear? No?
I do not understand how this is related to what you said. How can I use this app to write the classes? Where do I have to write the classes?
Okay, no, that's a very good point. I'm going to say that for everybody. So I missed some really obvious stuff. I'm sorry. Where you need in your application code, you have a file called model.py. Can everybody see that file? That's where you define your models. So that's where you write the entity and the admin. On this, so in the same directory you have the application admin, where you will define where it goes in the navigation. So remember the get sections method I talked about? That's where you link your new model in your application to be displayed here in the navigation. Could it be indenting? Is it all spaces?
No, the towers. Is it better to use spaces?
No, you can't mix them in a block. So.
Are you using it for them?
No, I'm not sure it is, but I'm just thinking out loud.
I started this installation. Is there anything that I think it's something wrong with the...
I mean, these are related. Like, which version of Camelot are you using?
This?
Which version of Camelot are you using? The one you just installed.
I use installation forever.
But can you look at again at the traceback? Yeah, I wanted to. I mean,
You missed an integer.
it is wrong. Set up all this.
Bracket. The column bracket isn't closed.
It should not. Where is the code? Here. No. I mean,
Unicode is not...
Okay, so that isn't imported properly. Unicode should be imported from SQL Alchemy schema.
like this one?
Or
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah. So you can use it fully, or you can import it.
why? Genesis code is from Alex imports the automatically Genesis settings of PI.
Okay, you need to change your cabinet. If you could go into side packages of the Python SDK we installed. Okay, and there remove this egg. Remove it quickly.
Because it's an old installation file.
Yeah.
I see.
It's an older SDK which doesn't have the release. The release we are using now is just a couple of days old. And the SDK installer doesn't contain it. So we need to delete this one.
Did anybody else install the Camelot from the
No,
SDK?
Yeah.
So I need to regenerate the project?
No, you just have to use the easy install which is installed in this SDK to install the egg which is also in the USB key.
Okay, command from.
Okay, so this egg file, you need to install that using easy install, but not with the easy install which is here.
Okay.
It should be here in the once you install this exit, and then just give it the path. Yeah. Okay.
It says clone property or not?
So it needs to be imported from Camelot core order. The relationship needs to be imported from psychoalchemy. Or this is off the top of my head. If this doesn't work, I'll just check it out. Relationship to the person, relationship to the actress. It goes back to the person before. Yes, that's a field.
Updating privileges in
Sorry? Uncode address. Just use the class name. Remove the quotes.
Uncode.
It's the same problem. I know it's different problem.
Hai creato la tua prima applicazione, no? Sì, però all'inizio, ora tu vai a vedere nella cartella che hai creato, ci sono dei file, cioè ci deve essere anche model.file.
Adesso ho aperto qua.
E lì poi creare le entity che la cosa migliore secondo me vai sul sito di Camelot, tu vai sul creating the movie model, devi scrivere comunque una cosa simile, ti fai il model e poi ti fai il relationship con actor, non mi ricordo se comunque
Quindi
per avere un'idea di
seguo sostanzialmente questo.
sì, per avere un'idea della sintassi da usare c'è un tutorial. All'inizio ti fai solo per dire solo il cosa con la movie senza gli attori, poi provi a registrare l'admin, dici quali modelli prendere e lo provi a lanciare e vedrai che sia nella tabella dove ti dice hai chiaro.
Grazie.
It's address.h So you're the only one on a Mac Red Eye or virtual machine? Okay, that's probably easier. I'm running it on a Mac, so there's proof that it can work. I just wanted to.
already using the Qt on my Mac, so I've already developed. But maybe
This is probably faster. Okay.
I'm trying to follow documentation. Well, I'm a Python newbie, so probably I'm a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Too new probably to all the
I'm probably assuming too much because that's the biggest problem I had preparing for these tools. I don't know the level, what people know. So.
Well, I'm probably one of, or
Yeah, but I should.
the lowest one.
We'll get there. Don't worry. So, do you have the code, the model codes?
Yes.
Okay.
This is predefine what has been
Exactly.
revealed.
The tool generated this. So these are not all the imports, but probably the imports that you will need to write a simple model. So what you're going to have to start to do is write a class.
Yes, but the problem is that I do not know how to refer to it. So you showed us the ancestor of the class. We should derive ours. I do not remember them,
Okay.
so
Okay. So you probably some.
for instance, if I want to create my admin class, I would try something like this. And I would copy, for instance, this one. Is it right?
Yes, if you register it later on. But it's probably easier if you just inline the admin class. So you start with writing exactly your entity.
But I do not. Okay, that is. Yeah. Okay.
And there you define what fields you have, what kind of fields they are, and then later on in the entity admin we say we want this and this field, and possibly, or hopefully we'll get there, you can also say it's a special field and you can do this and this and stuff like that. So but the first part is exactly defining what fields you want, so something like name and enter. Just two simple fields.
And these are not defined functions, but they are just properties in my class.
Exactly. This is exactly the way you write declarative model code. It's nothing Camelot specific, it's really declarative. Only the entity is Camelot specific, but yeah, exactly.
Do I have to specify a default value for these, for instance?
You can.
If I create my class, for instance, I do not know when I do it on my own code outside the initialize a function. So for instance, assume that every field is equal to none, so that I can check.
Yeah. The default arguments of a function.
Yes. How do I do it now?
Well,
Since these are properties and not.
you say that name is column first of all. No, is equals column.
Column.
Yes, this one.
Okay. Oh.
That's a class. So you open the brackets and close them. No, the round. It's a call to the.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
To the initial. So in that column you specify what kind of type this name field is, which would probably be a Unicode
Yes,
field.
I saw already.
And this is in SQL Alchemy types. So So SQL autoly.types.unicode, because you import it like that. You can also import the Unicode directly and then use it directly.
Okay.
This way you see directly, okay, it's a SQL autoly type. In its initialize, in the Unicode initialize, you can also specify how many characters this field can be. So bracket 50, for example, which limits the name to round brackets. It's the same you call the initializer again. I don't know what the default value here is, but no, it's an integer, so just 50 or 50 or 100, whatever you want. And then you can also give this column a default value. So inside the first comma, default is something. But I don't know if that's what you want. Maybe I don't know. But that's the way to specify default. So there you can say
I might do something like this, for instance.
Yeah, Unicode. Yeah, sure. And then you say something like unknown movie or something.
Okay.
So in the GUI, when you then create a new record, we will see that right away. It will display unknown movie in the field.
So this should already be for something to get displayed.
No, two more things. You need to specify a covenant. Yeah, exactly. To say we want this field. You have to explicitly say which fields you want.
Right, I just
Just an inner class is the most. I think
this
it's
is an entity with name.
exactly. Yeah. And there you specify the list underscore display. And that is a list with the. Yeah, sure, you can do it that way. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Square brackets is the quickest way, exactly. And then use the name column, but use it as a string. So quote name quote.
Here.
Yeah. So that way we say this name field needs to be displayed in the list view.
Oh, so
That's it.
That's
it. And now we still need to couple this entity to the menu, to the navigation. That is done in the application up and down. In this get sections, you have here my classes and configuration. If you want it in my classes, you just put the movie entity in this items list. So that's the actual class there. Movie, and then you have to import it somewhere. You can import it here or at the top. I think at the top is better. So from model import movie, that should be it. Run the main file. Yeah, it's already running, so you have to close it. It doesn't respond to keyboard internet.
Okay.
That's cute.
I don't know where it's gone.
Is it on another? So now you have movies there. You can click it, and then you have one item name, and there are no records here. If you click here, new. See, that's your default. That's it. So
Thanks.
you can start playing around.
Thanks a lot.
Have a question? The relation? Relation is.
Well, I work on the movie because in the examples of inside here is empty.
Is it?
Yeah.
But you found
I found the second one. I went to the second one, which is the application and I'm using it.
Because that's
Ah, okay, okay.
How are you guys doing?
Here it works fine. But here I could.
Oh,
But for him it's closed.
Mac, the form is closing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's a bug. It's a known bug. It's going to be fixed. But in the meantime, how did you yeah, so you got the egg, right? It's not the source code. Huh?
Yes.
You have to copy the source code from it. And then we have to patch it. But we already have the fix, but it's not released yet. I don't think I want to use this security.
We want to model we want to use that in the application file and yes, that's what we have to do. Maybe using only when we are explaining in the streaming, that's about it, but maybe in the final movie it will be posted on YouTube and similar, and cut the part where we are not talking to the other people, and it's maybe something interesting about Camelot anyway. So now it's not one. I finally present the first one. I'm so sorry. I'm people too. Actually, one comment for the connection. But finally, I put them more than a few. What else would they do?
Okay, so these fields are for creating the border. Just creating your model, everything you already knew that you were these are the questions you need to answer. So you need to say where do you want your source code. Right now it's in this area. The directory you start.
There is a problem actually. Sorry sir, it's meant to be disconnected. Sorry sir, is the meant to be disconnected as well? Did you disconnect yourself?
Oh, sorry.
No,
I did that. I think I did that.
It was meant to, okay, but it's a mistake.
It's a mistake.
Okay. Because as usual from the streaming, they panic. Hey, we can see anything.
They're really paying attention.
Yeah. They're very careful.
So I think everybody is getting there to creating the initial application. I haven't really told you guys the layout. I haven't told you guys the layout of the application itself, so maybe that's useful if I do that now. If you start a Camelot application, you will start up like this. You have at the top a toolbar to create a new record, delete it, duplicate it, navigate, print, export, and the help button. You have a navigation pane which contains the sections which are defined in your application admin. So if you haven't been able to link up your entity to show in the application here, that's in the get sections method of the application admin. There you can create these links. When you start up with one tab already open in the main view, which is the home tab. And I don't think the example, well, this is the example application. It already has an application action to create a new movie. We'll see later if we get to the action sub-framework which is in Camelot, how you can create those. So, if you click on an entity, movies, it opens in a new tab. It opens in the first tab next to home. If you open up another one, you see it opens in that tab. But you can also right-click and open in a new tab. You can double-click to get the full view. And in Mac, I just remembered, this is a bug. It doesn't go back again. Normally, when you double-click, I'm the only developer on a Mac. Maybe that's becoming obvious right now. So I'm just going to close the application. Start it up again. No double-click, no double-click, no double-click. Movies. So this opens up the list view. You can see here, these are the fields which are defined in the list underscore display of your admin entity, or your entity admin class. So if you want to display less or more, you can do that there. You will not see any records, of course, because your database is still empty. If you want to create a record, that's this button here, new, and that will open a form. The form, this is where where the types you specified get converted into the correct widgets. For example, this one is Unicode, simple text field. This one is an image editor. This one is the rating edit. The rating editor I talked about. We have a date. We have a file. We have a rich text. We have an enumeration, which is empty now. And this is a relation. So director is a related admin, which I also explained what you are building as well. If you want to add a related field, you can create a new one right here. So it opens up the person in this case the person form, which will create a new record. Or you can search for persons that are already in the database. The button changes to a sweeper to delete it again. And as you saw, if you have a field and you have the defined nullable is true in the column, it will validate on those fields. So if I close this, it says, wait a minute, you have these required fields, what do you want to do? Okay, fill in the fields, or don't save. In the form view, since the last release, we also have the toolbar in the forms with a refresh button and an exit close form button. Actually, this is not really necessary because it is the same as closing the form. We have opted to not use save buttons or cancel buttons in Camelot. This might feel a bit strange in the beginning, but we are actually convinced this is better. All of our users who have complained about this in the beginning, this is strange, there is no way to save. Yes, there is a way to save, you just exit the field. Field is saved. That's it. So in the long run, it saves you a click. That's basically the idea. And almost, every user that has ever complained about this in the beginning is convinced after using the application for half an hour. There is no undo.
So if you make a mistake, you cannot cancel. You will write something in the database, and then you will delete.
I think that if you press ask while you are still editing the field.
Sorry? Yeah, of course. I thought you meant when I exited the field. Exit field is safe. So if I type here and I do escape, then that's your undo. Yeah, I know. It's a choice. It's a philosophy.
Yeah, sure.
It feels, for most users, it's getting a bit used to it. But like I said, it doesn't take very long, and they're all convinced. That's it for now. So. No. If the field loses focus, it's written to the database. That's the. It's a philosophy. It's done this way to speed up certain jobs. For instance, somebody who is doing data entry and a clerk who is constantly working in the application. They really appreciate this way of working. And that's basically what we aim at to give the end user the best feel of the application. Might seem a bit arrogant to you, but we are convinced this is true, and we are convinced not by our own conviction, but by seeing users, by looking at users, by hearing them.
I can confirm that my users think the same, which are different.
Okay, but just in case, is it possible to override this behavior in some way?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Every part of Camelot is written with extensibility in mind. So there are ways. It's beyond the scope of this training, but there are ways. The lead developer, Eric, is very helpful on mailing lists for that sort of stuff. He loves that stuff. He specifically built Camelot with that in mind. So if you ask a question like that, he'll be on it, I'm sure. So, did everybody get their models running? Can everybody see the movie and the actor and hopefully the relationship? Or do you need some more time or some help? Or can I continue to the next exercise? Who wants to go to the next exercise? Maybe show of hands? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'll go to the next exercise and I'll come to the other guys later on. So I'm going to put the slides online. I skipped this one about settings because it works out of the box. I'm already limited in time to go to the good stuff, so I'm going to skip settings. If you want, read it later. It's pretty obvious how you can extend that. Okay. Some more info on admin. So a couple of things are built into Camelot to make it easy and fast in development. For instance, to include a filter like this. List filter is a property of the admin, and it contains a list of filters. In this case, we use a combo box filter on the status field, which is defined in the model. A combo box filter would display a drop down, I think. Yeah. Default is the radio button stuff. Other things you can do, for instance, is freeze columns. If you have a name and 10 other columns, you can't show them all, but if the user scrolls to the right, the name column could be frozen and always visible, which is handy. We try to get a lot of ideas from Excel, because users are familiar with Excel mostly, and we borrowed some stuff from FileMaker as well, but that's less important. So the verbose name plural, I already discussed that. List display, you can put a filter in there, you can freeze columns. For other properties, I suggest they're a bit beyond the scope of a basic tutorial, so you can check out the documentation for that. The way forms are displayed, typically it's a grid form, cute style, which means you get label field. But you could also use other kinds of layouts, such as this example, which uses the tab form, which creates something like this. This is the Mac layout, so you'll probably see something else, but the point is that you can have tabs inside your form. You can have tabs on top and vertical tabs. So that's a bit about, yeah, so it's always a list with a tuple of the name and the fields. If you specify which another style of form, you need to initiate the form here. The underscore stuff here for the name is for internationalization, translation using gettext. If there's time, I can show you something about that. If you just want to put some text on the screen without a field, you can always use the label in the same way. Just initialize the label and what you want inside it. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Field attributes. In your entity admin class, you can specify a whole bunch of field attributes. Now this is really cool. You can manipulate a lot with those field attributes. Some examples are here. For example, if you are using doubles or floats, you can specify the precision which it is displayed. You can you can add a calculator to the field. You can add prefixes, suffixes, background colors, tooltips, minimum, maximum, stuff like that. So like I said, in the admin class, you can specify these field attributes. What's more is that you can, for instance, say the tooltip is enter the birth date, which is a static field attribute. It just shows this tooltip with that text. But you can also have dynamic field attributes. For example, the background color we defined here on the field birth date. So as you can see, field attributes is a dictionary with all the fields and with their attributes. In this case, we want to dynamically change the background color. So according to a function which is outside the admin, it takes the current object as an argument, and you can use that to return in this for background color, obviously a color, a cute color. So in this case, if a certain condition is met, we will change the background color. Is this clear for everyone? So it's an easy way to quickly adapt your view. And there's an exercise on that. So create a form view for the movie object, which you already have normally, and make the background of the movie title orange, as long as there are no related actors. That's the exercise. Now, yeah, okay. I'll just help the people who weren't there yet. No, first of all, for the ones who want to try this exercise, is it clear what you need to do?
Maybe the slides, can we have access to them to just see the form and all this? Do you have them
This
somewhere?
one?
Yeah, well, if you have them in the slides.
I have them. Yeah. Okay, welcome back. We're going to be discussing actions next, which is a real cool part of Camelot because it is immensely extensible. But first, real quick, something about subclassing the admin. If you have, for example, an address entity which displays person and email field, and you have a one-to-many relation to a person, then you probably don't want to show this person field on the admin of the person. So you get a form of person where you can see his addresses, but you don't want this person field in the list. So that way, if you want to prevent that, you can subclass the admin interface, subclass the admin, simply by inheriting this admin and correcting the list display. So it's just email, not person anymore. If you would like to manipulate the field attributes, remember to deep copy them. Also address admin field attributes, which would be defined here, right? So then you have a separate address on person admin, which inherits from the address admin. And to enforce the use of this admin, you can also, you have to specify it in the field attributes. So these field attributes are, like I said, they can do a whole bunch of things. For instance, overriding the admin. So on the person entity, in the view code of the person entity, in the entity admin, you specify a field attribute addresses, which would be a field of person, and you say this one needs to use address on person admin. That way you can manipulate the admin without having to rewrite it. Okay, actions and reports. Actions is fairly new to Camelot. And it, like I said, it allows for a lot of extensibility because virtually everything, and we are working towards more, is an action. For example, if you open a form, if you click on the folder icon here, this is an action. So you could manipulate this. You can make it anything you want. You can have it open anything you want. Like I said, this is an action. This is an action as well. This is an application action. And what it's mainly used for is to create buttons on the form or on the list view, which do something, an action. For example, burn to disk would burn this movie to a disk. Of course, it doesn't do anything. But you can see what this does is open a little progress bar. Now, to understand this action framework or to be able to use it, you have to understand generators. Who here does not know what a generator is? Everybody knows? It's a function that can periodically yield stuff instead of returning just one thing, right? Okay. So just a quick reminder, you have a producer, which is a generator because it has the keyword yield instead of return. What it does is, in this case, it opens a file, reads the lines, loops over the lines, and then yields it with a comma separator. The consumer of this generator can then also periodically pull this data by looping over it. So yeah, pass the CSV file. It yields line per line. And you get it in line per line. We specifically chose to use generators because actions are typically things that go in steps, where you possibly need to get an answer from the user, which could basically be this: yield yes or no, and then you have to wait for the user. So can't just create an action and return it. We create generators to be able to split up the actions. That's a bit of background on the philosophy. Now, as I mentioned, Camelot has two main threads, the GUI thread and the model thread. Both can have actions. The GUI thread obviously has actions which has something to do with the way it is displayed: windows, dialogues, tables, forms, those kind of things. If you want to manipulate that, you would use the GUI run method of an action. I'll come to that later. The model thread, of course, when you want to do something with the data, like and more, well, like setting attributes of an object, writing and reading, database calculations and stuff. The data stuff, not the view stuff. The way this works is communication between the two threads is done via an internal queue, a collection proxy. The model thread yields objects to the GUI thread, and the GUI thread processes those objects and sends the result back to the model thread. That's how it works. You need to know this background because of this mechanism, the value of a field may not be there already, because the GUI thread is always responsive, it's always there. The model thread might be working on getting the data. In that time, you have a special type, which is called value loading. So you need to keep that in mind, that you not necessarily have the real value yet. Okay, so let's take a look at the action object. This is Camelot code. You don't need to... no, sorry. So this is the way you extend an action, which is in Camelot admin action, import action, subclass it. And this my action can be used again in the entity admin, in the view portion of your code, as list actions and form actions. Obviously, list actions will create a button next to your list view, and form actions will create a button on the form. As you could see earlier, the burn disk stuff. For this reason, you need to specify a verbose name. This will be the label of the button. And you need to specify either a GUI run method or a model run method, depending on what you want to do. They both get a context, which you can then use to access data, access widgets, and do something with them. There are several... No, I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay. So first, the model run method. It obviously gets called in the model thread. It receives a model context object, which depends on where the action was triggered. This so this is a list action model context. which can then be used, which has attributes which can be very useful, like the selection count, what the user has selected, which rows, the collection count, everything that was found, and get the collection, get the selection, to get that data to do something with it. So it is dependent on what the user does. If the user selects 2 rows and clicks an action, you can use the get selection to get that, obviously. So this is where the generators come back into play. You have in Camelot a lot of action steps prepared for you. You should check the documentation or the source code if you want. Camelot view action steps, and there you'll see a list of useful things, useful action steps, such as, for example, print HTML, which will generate a cute print preview dialog with content you like. So if you define a model run in the action subclass, so we're here now, and you yield the action step, it will now open a print preview with the text "Hello World." Is that clear so far? Obviously, you want to do something with the data in an action. Well, obviously, most of the time. For that, you see here, I use the model context to get the collection. That's everything, every record in that table. And we are now on an action on the person list. And what I did here is I swapped the first name and the last name. And I want it to be saved in the database. So therefore, I must yield flush session, which is an action step itself. Don't forget that, because it does not auto flush. The rest of Camelot does, and it does not use transactions. So actions were made to do simple things, simple one-off things. So we can now make an exercise which uses this action sub-framework. What I would like you to build is a state field on your movie object. So you have to create an action, subclass an action, and put it in your form underscore actions of the admin, which would manipulate a state field. So create this state field in your movie entity, which would have a default value of draft. Default is a argument of the column constructor. So you can put default is and a string for now. So that way you have this state field with a default value of draft. Then you add an action to that movie form in form underscore actions of the admin, which changes that state from draft to complete. And if you want, you can do the last step as well, which is disable the field title of the movie. This would be done through a field attribute on that field called editable, which would be set dynamically to false. So like I said, nullable can be used in the column definition, but you can also override that in the field attributes using editable. So I think I have given enough information so you can make this exercise and find all this stuff in the documentation or source code. Okay, any questions? Just call me or Antonio. So for the people who already managed to do this exercise, maybe you can try this. So this is a little extra on internationalization. You can use Get-Text Lazy from Camelot core utils to manipulate your verbose names to use translated texts. This calls for a little bit of extra work because you need to create these language files. So check out how to use Babel. If you can go on the internet for the documentation and generate these PO and MO files. You can also use QLinguist, which is if you install the Qt SDK, which is installed. And well, that's it. You can try the last one as well, which loads custom translation files. But I think this stuff might be enough for advanced exercise. Okay. Okay, so the training, we don't have much time anymore. I had another exercise planned which used Jinja to do reporting, but on the site Python Camelot, that is python-camelot.com. python-camelot.com. Here you can find everything. You can find all the documentation, you can find tutorials, support, top menu says it all. So I'm sorry I couldn't tell you more. I hope you have some benefit from it, and feel free to subscribe to the mailing list. Let us know how you're doing, what you're building, because we're always interested in doing that. So thank you very much for coming, and I hope to see you around. Bye.